Would you like a coffee?
Thanks, Gav, but you know I only drink tea.
Oh yeah, well, that could be arranged.
Oh?
Follow us. If you're enjoying listening, watching or reading Gav Em's How to English Pod, visit ko-fi.com/how-to-English-pod.
That's coffee, ko-fi.com/how-to-English-pod. And it would be lovely if you bought us a coffee or a tea to show us support, and you could even get a mention on our show if you'd like. Welcome everybody, this is How to English, Teach and Learn with Gav Em.
It's a podcast about teaching and learning English as a foreign language.
All opinions stated are personal and references will be given when necessary.
What's the theme of our final show of this year?
It's the December special, Gav. And it's to celebrate all the language teachers and learners out there. Those students who are learning a new language, have taken an exam, found confidence in speaking and writing in another language, and who have found new opportunities from their hours of studying languages.
And to all the teachers who have worked so hard to motivate, encourage and find exciting ways to improve their students' abilities in learning languages. This show is for you.
And we also want to dedicate part of our show to all the generous people who gave us feedback over the last 3 seasons. Gav, 3 seasons.
3 seasons,
of our How to English podcast, Teach and Learn with Gav Em. We want to say thank you to them for all their kind words, which have motivated us to keep on going over the years.
Should we read a few of these fabulous feedback comments from our followers?
Yes, please.
On YouTube, we've had plenty of invaluable feedback and encouragement, and also some quite discerning insights. Like this one from Frida, for example, who commented on our YouTube channel on Season 1's Episode 1. Do you remember that show, Em?
That was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
And do you remember what it was called?
I think it was just First Lessons, yeah?
It was First Lessons. And Frida mentioned how scary first lessons are for students too, as they're often put in new groups with strangers and might not feel confident about their own abilities. He stressed the importance of the teacher's task, which is to make the students feel at ease at the beginning of the course, during that first lesson. Is that something you focus on?
Definitely. And I remember talking about this, even though it was 3 years ago, I do remember talking about it, and we focused a lot on the teacher and how the teacher feels. But it's a really good point that Frida makes, that the students are all like that first day at school feeling where you walk into a room of people you don't know. It is intimidating, and you have to mix and make friends and decide who you're going to eat your lunch with. Maybe not that bit, but yeah, it's a lot, isn't it? A lot to take on.
It is, and it's the teacher's job to help that integration of the group so they can move forward together. This is like yesterday. We were having this conversation about first lessons.
It's still fresh and it's still relevant. I still have a lot of first lessons, so I really need to keep in mind all these aspects of it. Everybody's there for possibly a different reason, or everyone's there for the same reason, but that's what you have to work out, isn't it?
I think they're there to learn a language,
That's the one thing they have in common, but you still have to work out the personalities and the different dynamics and get all that working. So it's a hard job to create a great environment.
I agree.
Gav, let me mention Sergio, who's on Instagram under grammar_drops, and Teacher Milena, who you can find on Instagram under Teacher Milena. They both had some really nice comments to say about Season 3's episode 23, which was featuring Anna from Polka Languages on neurodiversity. They said some really nice things, so thank you both of you.
That was a really good topic, really fascinating, and we got loads of positive feedback, so thank you to Anna for that one. Now, another comment we got on our YouTube was from English with Reinventress. You can also find them on Instagram. They said, quote, "Wow, fantastic work by both of you And your chemistry is on fleek.
Fleek?
Fleek?
What's fleek?
It means extremely good, Em.
I've heard it. It's a new word.
And it's a word to describe Gav Em's show. So we got that feedback on Season 3's Episode 18, Confusing Words.
That was a good one.
That was a good one.
And I was never good at science at school, Gav, but I have chemistry in this podcast.
You certainly do. You got grade A in that subject, Em.
Nice. Thank you, Charlotte from English in Athens, who also commented on our Confusing Words episode. She said she's used one of our Pictionary-style game activities with her students and really enjoyed it.
That is wonderful. Practical application from your favourite podcast. If you hear one of the activities that we're doing, use it with your students. Ask your teacher. Say, teacher, I was listening to a really cool podcast with Gav and Em all about teaching and learning English, and they did this activity, and I want to do it too with my student peers, friends, colleagues in my class. Please.
It makes me really happy, Gav, when our followers pick up our games and activities and then go and actually use them.
That's so cool. And check out the show notes for that show because there's loads of activities there. Kleber from M.
Kleber Gurizato?
.ingles on Instagram shared an astonishing array of emojis with such variety and creativity on our comments page that we've never seen before. And we're so grateful to him for his lavish use of emoticons. And they were all positive, lots of hearts, lots of claps and all of those things.
Lovely. Maybe that's a new medium in art.
They're very expressive.
Lovely. Whizbusters, who you can find on Instagram
and YouTube
under Whizbusters, commented on episode 16, Quiz Time, season 3. Her adjectives included lovely, comprehensive, and fun, which are 3 of my favourite adjectives, Gav. Once you finish this episode, pop back to season 2's Memorable Moments 2, where you can hear Whizbusters' magical rendition of the 12 Days of Christmas. Also, they have some really cool things coming out next year. So go and find them and check out their resources. Links in the show notes.
Now, Ladoris from Improve My Pronunciation on Instagram wrote so many nice things about Season 3's Episode 7, EdTech, featuring Charlie from Charlie's Lessons.
That was a really good one. And I loved Ladoris's contribution to the show. I can still remember it now.
Her pronunciation tips are invaluable. Go check her out.
And thank you, Tsar. Tsar dropped us a line about Season 2, Episode 4, titled Development with Carolina Kuna, and Season 1, How to Listening. Tsar commented, when he's teaching, he always encourages his students to be active listeners.
Active listeners? What does Tsar mean by that, Em?
Just not to switch off and think, well, now I can have a little break and not focus on anything because the teacher's talking or another student's talking.
Or I'm listening to a recording. It's time for me to look out the window and watch people get on the bus.
You have to always try and find something to learn in any opportunity, and listening activities or listening to other people is such a good opportunity to analyse language in a more passive way.
Fatime from F Zamani 1376 NN, who actually featured on Season 2's Episode 18, says she loves our show, Em.
Well, Fatime, we love that you love our show. Doesn't get better than that. And finally, Barbara from English Music Education, who is on Instagram under English Music Education, and featured on Episode 6, Season 2, which was titled Music, also loves our December episode from Season 2, Episode 18. She mentions how we've created this amazing community of teachers and learners.
That is absolutely right. You can find this massive community on Instagram, on Facebook, on all your socials. There are communities of teachers and learners all coming together to share teaching tips and learning tips.
Be part of the community, people. Join us and we will rule the world. No, we will
communicate.
Communicate, yes.
Share.
Yes.
Collaborate.
Isn't it nice?
It is. It's a wonderful feeling. Well, Em, because of this amazing community of listeners, watchers, and readers of the transcription, Last week, we were, for a few hours, number 1 in the language learning charts with nearly 40,000 listens to our show.
I was doing a little clap there. Well done, us.
I do appreciate your little clap, Em.
Okay.
We were only beaten by Merriam-Webster's Word of the Day, which is number 1. They are also fabulous, so check them out. Learn a new word every day with their podcast. If you want to see the podcast charts yourself and find other great shows, then we can recommend our friends at Good Pods. Check out their cool app and become part of their community of podcast fans.
And keep us at the top by listening.
I'm happy with number 2, Em.
Oh, okay. Now, what everyone's been waiting for, our featured teachers and learners to help us finish off our teaching and learning year of 2022.
Do you know what all our guests have in common, Em?
No.
They are all fabulous.
Yes, they are.
Em, what would you like our guest teachers and learners to cover in this final episode of the year?
So this is like my wish list to the teaching magical Christmas fairy.
I think so.
Well, I would like help with how to motivate myself as a teacher and a learner.
Em, who doesn't want help motivating, being motivated, being pushed down the corridor of learning?
That's right, Gav. And I'd like to overcome my shyness.
Shyness? You? You're not shy.
Yes, I am.
Oh.
Yes, I am. And I want some practical pronunciation tips to make me sound more natural when I speak.
I think I need those too, so I can practice them with my students.
Yeah. I'd like to learn the difference between two confusing words.
That is always useful. Or invaluable. Hold on, what's the difference? No, carry on.
And finally, I would like an expert to debunk some language learning tips.
Now, we are not short of experts on our show, Em, so that would be brilliant. Let's begin with Aleksandra on the topic of motivating language. You can find Aleksandra at distant_ENG on Instagram and also find her at her website. Links in show notes.
Hello everybody, my name is Aleksandra and I'm an English teacher from Siberia. Today I would like to give you several expressions when you want to motivate somebody, to support somebody when he is down in the dumps. So, what can we say? Cheer up or chin up. Yeah, like smile, chin up, cheer up. We may use lighten up. It's like be cool, calm down, lighten up. Also, there is a nice expression, you're on the right track. When somebody is trying hard, but not everything can go well, so we may say, you are on the right track. Every dog has its day. Every dog has its day. We all have our ups and downs, but it's not the reason to give up. So, every dog has its day means that there is the time when something that we do, will become successful. The last expression for today will be, every cloud has a silver lining. It means that every bad situation has its positive sides. Every cloud has a silver lining. That's all for today. I wish you a very good day and hope that you are on the right track. See you soon.
Fantastic. That's it, isn't it, Gav? Sometimes you just need a little phrase to pick you up and push you a bit further. And to know that somebody cares. And you can't show that you care unless you have the language to use and to express that.
That is exactly right. And all of those phrases really motivated me to step up, to get back on track, to look at the silver lining in the clouds of doom that are hanging over my head, Em.
That's it. Just to say you're on the right track. That's all you need. Just sometimes a little encouragement.
And what was that phrase, if you're down in the what?
Down in the dumps.
Oh, dumps, that's where they collect all the rubbish and refuse and recycling, isn't it?
I guess, yes, it is. But I don't know if that is the reference to the dumps that we're talking about, but I haven't Googled it. But I want to.
I will now. I'm motivated to. Thanks, Aleksandra.
And now we have Mahi. You can find Mahi on Instagram under english.withmahi.
What's she going to talk about, Em?
This is some advice about what to do if you're embarrassed about speaking English.
Learning a new language can feel overwhelming, so the embarrassment that comes with it is natural. So, if you feel embarrassed when practicing around people, especially when the people around you are fluent, remember that it is natural. You feel out of place because you are unable to express yourself properly. Deal with the embarrassment, practice as much as you can. Try speaking in English alone or in a comfortable space where you can just speak out loud. Just keep in mind that English is not your first language and you are still learning, which is incredibly impressive. So you do not need to be embarrassed.
That is incredibly impressive. And remember, those people around you who are fluent were also like you. They also began with zero and now they are amazing. And you could be amazing too with practice.
What you're doing is fantastic. You're learning a language and nobody should judge you for your level. So it's not you, it's them, is what I'm trying to say.
But what is you is how much time and energy you spend improving your language skills. As Mahi said, practice, 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 alone, with friends. Surround yourself with English and your skills will improve very, very quickly. Now we've got Veronica at Wanna Speak by Veronique. Go check out her resources at Wanna Speak by Veronique, Veroniq. And in addition, you can join Veronica's 8-week program, which has personalized content to all learner levels and interactive materials and innovative methods. With Veronica, you learn by practicing. Here she will tell us about reductions in pronunciation.
Hi there, Wanna Speak by Veronique here. My name is Veronica and I'm an online English coach. I'm here to help you improve your English with a lot of passion and love. You can find me on my 2 YouTube channels, Wanna Speak by Veronique with long videos and Wanna Speak by Veronique Shorts. You can also visit my Instagram and TikTok, Wanna Speak by Veronique. Today I would like to talk to you about 10 common reductions for natural American English. So, are you ready to improve your listening and pronunciation skills? Let's talk about reductions today, which are extremely big and important part of American English. Reduction comes from the word to reduce, which means to make things smaller and shorter, and that's what speakers love to do. Reductions allow us to go smoothly through language, and once you know them, a whole new world opens up to you, because you are able to understand most of the sources, jokes, social media posts, etc. Let me ask you a question right now. Which of these 2 sentences sound more natural to you? Use your intuition. Number 1. I have got to go to the grocery store. And number 2. I've gotta go to the grocery store. Soon you will answer this question and you are about to understand the difference. But before we start with reductions, let me explain the difference between reduction and contraction, because these 2 can be easily confused. So, reduction, which this video is about, is usually used in spoken speech, in spoken language, or in formal texts, for example, text messages or online. Basically, it was made to make our lives easier and let us express things effortlessly. Examples of reductions are words such as gonna, wanna, gotta, which you're gonna find in this video. Gonna, by the way. On the other hand, contractions are considered real words, or words that can be written in formal texts. We also use them in spoken language. For example, he will becomes he'll. So as you can see, he and will are real words. I have done becomes I've done. She is becomes she's. So, as we can observe, these are real words that can be written in a shorter way. Now, let's go directly to the slang and let's find out how to make our life simple, easy, and what's more important, natural. So, let's start with this common question. What are you doing? What are you doing seems too long, right? So, we can say, what you doing? What you doing? So, what are you becomes one word, what you. And the verb doing instead of pronouncing this nasal sound, we say doing. Doing. Number 2, I don't know. I don't know, again, seems too long. So we can say, I don't know. I don't know. Here we can observe stop T. I don't pronounce it in the word don't. Listen one more time. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. If someone asks you, what's the weather like today? I don't know. I haven't checked it yet. Number 3. Going to becomes gonna. So instead of saying, I'm going to talk to him, I can say, I'm gonna talk to him. I'm gonna talk to him. Or, I gonna talk to him. What happens here? The verb to be can disappear. So, both versions in reality are correct. I can say, I'm gonna or I gonna. She's gonna or she gonna. But of course, the shorter the better. Number 4. Wants to becomes wanna. So listen to this example. I want to do that becomes I wanna do that. I wanna do that. Again, that is with stop T. So basically I say that. I wanna do that. One more example. Let me work. I wanna finish. I wanna finish. 5. Have to becomes have to. I have to do it today becomes I have to do it today. I have to do it today. There is no other way. It has to be done. Number 6. Have got to becomes gotta. Now, it's really interesting because what's the difference between have to and have got to? Basically, there is no difference in meaning. Have got to is slightly more informal and it's really popular in American English. So, this example should be already familiar. I have got to go to the grocery store becomes I've gotta go to the grocery store. I've gotta go to the grocery store. Now an important question is, what happens to have? The same situation as with to be when it comes to going to. I can say I'm gonna or I can say I gonna. Here is the same. I've gotta or I gotta. So, have can be present or can disappear. But obviously the shorter the better, so you know the answer. Number 7. Out of becomes outta. For example, this printer is out of paper. It's just too long. It's so uncomfortable. So I can say, this printer is out of paper. This printer is out of paper. Or, this bus is out of service. This bus is out of service. Number 8. Kind of becomes kinda. This situation is kind of weird. This situation is kinda weird. Now let's connect number 7 with number 8. Aura and kinda in one sentence. So, he's kinda outta hope. Kinda outta hope. You can repeat after me if you want. He's kinda outta hope means that he doesn't have hope that things get better. So, it's too long when I want to say he's kind of out of hope. As you can see, too many of, right? He's kinda outta hope. Number 9. Give me becomes gimme. Give me a break. I'm thirsty and tired. Give me a break. I'm thirsty and tired. Gimme. Give me that book, please. The last but absolutely not least, let me becomes lemme. Let me work. I wanna finish. Let me work. I wanna finish. Again, 2 in 1. Let me. I wanna. Okay, guys. It was supposed to be 10 reductions, but I have one really interesting bonus for you. Get out of here becomes get out of here. Get out of here. This expression is really strong, so make sure that you use it properly. I'm really curious, guys, which of these reductions was new for you. It was a pleasure to talk to you. Wanna Speak by Veronica.
And a pleasure to hear all those amazing tips. That was like a whole lesson, Gav.
It was, and it seemed to be building. I could see how wanna and gonna and have to. They just built on top of each other until we had these magical, very natural sounding sentences.
I've never really thought about the difference between contractions and reductions, but Veronica explained it so well. It is completely common to use reductions, but I always say to my students, don't write them in emails.
Exactly as Veronica explained. Contractions in written, reductions in spoken. And I often say to my students, please don't write those reductions down. You don't write to your boss, I'm going to go now.
No, but you would absolutely say it. And I think a lot of my students get confused because they think that reductions are like slang, which isn't true. If you listen to the news, for example, and listen to politicians talking, they do say these reductions. It's just natural speech. But bear in mind, spoken, not written.
Kind of everywhere.
Kind of everywhere. The more you tune your ear, the more you will notice them in films. You might suddenly realise, oh, I can understand this. It's just all smooshed up together to sound like one word.
Yeah.
Like a cake pop, Gav.
Is that a smooshed thing?
Yeah, it's when you take a cake and you mix it together with some frosting and you make like a pop thing.
I'm going to have to check that later.
There are a lot of videos about cake pops online. Have fun.
So thank you, Veronica, for that fabulous mini lesson.
Next, we have Tanguy from Next Level Learning. You can find Tanguy on Instagram. He's going to explain the difference between two confusing words.
Hello everyone, I'm Tanguy from Next Level Learning. I'm French and help mainly French speakers to understand and speak English. I'm delighted to be part of today's episode. We are going to go over two little words that can be very, very confusing. What's the difference between beside and besides with a S? So first of all, beside is a preposition meaning by the side of or near. You will use it when you want to express that someone or something is next to another person or object. For example, the chair is beside the couch. The chair and the couch are next to each other. However, besides with a S has two different meanings, which are really, really different. Besides is a preposition or a linking adverb. The first meaning of besides can be replaced by except. For example, no one wanted to jump besides her. This sentence means that only her wanted to jump and no one else. The second meaning of besides can be replaced by in addition to. We can say besides sport, he loves cooking. This sentence means that not only he loves sport, but also he loves cooking. Or let me put it this way. In addition to loving sport, he loves cooking. So you will choose to use this one when you want to add an extra element. Hope the difference is clear. Have a beautiful day.
And we're absolutely delighted to have you in today's show, Tanguy. So thank you for that contribution. Besides, and besides, Em. Was that clear?
Well, not when you said it, but when Tanguy explained it, absolutely. Just an S changes it all. It always reminds me of the song I used to sing as a child, Gav. Oh, I do like to be beside the seaside. Oh, I do like to be beside the sea.
But that's without the S.
Without the
meaning
S.
next to in the position.
That's it. But wait a sec. I do like to stroll upon the prom, where the brass band plays diddly-om-pom-pom. Prom like promenade.
Okay.
Then I didn't know this, but there's a second verse, which is very clever. So just let me be beside the seaside. I'll be beside myself with glee.
Happiness.
Beside myself with glee, yeah, like so happy. I think it's like you come out of your body and you stand next to yourself and you see how happy you are. For there are lots of people besides. I should like to be beside the seaside, beside the sea. And that people besides, there are lots of people besides, meaning as well as...
In addition to.
Yes, which I never knew. Nice, isn't it?
That is nice. And at this time of year, being beside the seaside sounds like a very nice thing to do.
It does. And can you believe I just sang on the end of year special? It must be something special about that.
It will be for the people removing their earpods and turning down the volume and thinking, oh, wow, Em just sang for us. So thank you for that, Em.
That's good. And if you're still listening, we have one more fantastic guest.
That guest is Dr. Anne, who will bust some language myths. You can find Dr. Anne under LA English Tutor on Instagram. Go to our show notes and find all the links to today's guests.
Language myths are all around us, and they're usually disguised as common sense. Take, for example, the popular belief that learning more than one language at the same time will cause mental confusion. As a university English instructor, I've had students ask me questions like, is it okay if I read in my home language when I have free time, or will it mess up my progress in English? Let's debunk this language myth that it's better to keep different languages away from each other and look closer at some of the key facts related to bilingualism. The research shows that distinct languages are not housed separately in the brain like we once thought. If you learn a new language after childhood, it isn't like you're adding an extension to a house. It's more like you're remodeling the entire architecture. Linguists and educators first learned about this in the early 1980s when researcher Jim Cummins theorized about an underlying interlinguistic connection and remarkable capability of bilingual brains to transfer concepts between languages. Here's another way to think about it. Imagine a giant iceberg, like the one that sank the Titanic, except that this iceberg has two peaks rising up above the water's surface. There's one giant mass of ice under the water, but two mountainous peaks visible on top. This is how bilingual cognition works. Although you may hear a bilingual speaker using two separate languages with unique sounds and grammars, all of their knowledge and skills in those languages is integrated and linked together in one central system. So if you acquire a concept in one language, you can access it in all of the languages that you know. Messages move in and out of different language channels, which are like the iceberg peaks, one for each language you know, yet all of your knowledge and learning resides in a unified underwater ice mass, so to speak. So let's recap. Languages are not separated in the mind. It's a myth that learning or speaking multiple languages at the same time is mentally overwhelming or unnatural or problematic. Our brains are hardwired to process and make meaning out of different codes and symbols. We are masters at this, and there are numerous reasons why it's in our best interest to support multilingualism.
What a good metaphor. I never thought of it like that, Gav.
I've never imagined that. I started with a house, I was rebuilding, I was redesigning the house, and then I moved into an iceberg with double peaks, and it all became clear. Imagine that iceberg as your knowledge of language and watch those peaks growing. We are expressing ourselves in many different languages, and we're not switching and going to a different room, to a different iceberg. We are simply staying where we are and using the language that's all in the same place.
I think we'll let Dr. Anne do the metaphors, Gav, because she's much better at it than you, sorry to say. Thank you very much, Dr. Anne, for that insightful and memorable explanation.
And before we get to the end of our special show, we have to say more thanks to the teachers and learners for their kind comments. This one comes from Eugenia at Lingo Junkie. Totally cool page. Go check out his videos. He wrote on our Instagram page, I absolutely love the positivity on your IG posts and on your podcast, Gav Em. Besides the extremely useful English language advice and lessons, of course, thank you for sharing your knowledge and good vibes with us. Besides, Em.
Perfect English. Besides the extremely useful English language. So we're positive and also useful.
That is a wonderful recommendation. Thank you, Lingo Junkie.
Jumping to our Apple podcast, 5-star comments.
5 stars?
Yeah. Robin said, Best Teaching and Learning English podcast and gave us 5 stars.
Very kind, thank you.
And commented, wonderful podcast about teaching and learning English with Gav Em and their fantastic guests. Totally recommend.
Wow. And another comment from our Apple podcast listener, Eng Teach Learn wrote, amazing educational and entertaining podcast for teachers and learners of English, and gave us another 5 stars.
Love those 5 stars. Jump for English wrote, Gav and Em are like the little voices you have in your head, second-guessing yourself, judging your teaching, reflecting on your actions. Their brutal honesty about all the on-the-spot decisions a teacher takes is invigorating. This podcast is a must.
Wow. We're the little voice in Jump for English's head.
I just love that description. It's just so funny, and I like that idea that, yeah, I am voicing that little voice because it's always there.
It is. It's always talking to us and saying, Gav, are you sure you want to do that?
Yeah. Thank you very much for that comment. That's a really good one.
That's lovely. Mo Senna commented, a podcast with many TEFL voices. Great podcast filling a gap in the English teaching world. Great topics and ideas. Gav and Em show great chemistry. More chemistry. Leading to great discussions on TEFL. We don't have all the answers, but we're learning.
That's lovely. Really lovely. And thank you for, again, noticing the chemistry. See, we do get on, Gav. You think sometimes we don't, but we do. And we are very proud to be part of a podcast community of teachers and learners who are all offering different and quality content. And finally, Making the Basics is Fun, which is a great name, wrote a comment, great episode for every teacher, strategies and how-tos on great teaching. Thanks for the quality show.
Thank you very, very much. Making the Basics is Fun. If you want to give us some feedback, and you could even get a mention on a future show, drop us a line, comment on the show. Let us know how you feel about Gav and Em's How to English podcast, and we will be very, very grateful.
Gav, what's the plan for next year?
Next year, we've got some exciting guests. We've got new and important topics, and we will revisit and maybe deep dive into some previously covered aspects of teaching and learning, Em. So to summarise, thank you so much to all of the contributors to today's show. We want to thank you for your amazing tips, and we hope the followers have enjoyed the show as much as we have.
And thank you for all your comments out there, everybody. We read them all, and they really help us to feel inspired and motivated to keep going. Thank you.
We're going to take them into 2023 and beyond.
And please remember, if you want to show us some love, please visit coffee.com/howtoenglishpod and buy us a hot beverage.
How do you spell coffee?
KO-FI.
That's it.
And you can also send us some feedback on your favourite podcast app or find us on your socials. And you can find all our previous episodes and also highlights of our upcoming episodes on Instagram and Facebook.
And you can find all the links for today's guests and for our coffee link in the show notes. Em, it has been an absolute delight working with you on Gav and Em's How to English Pod. Looking forward to seeing you in 2023.
Thank you, Gav. Yes, I feel the same way. It's a pleasure, not a chore, recording with you. I'm looking forward to another year of podding with you.
See you on the other side.
What does that mean?
Bye.
Okay, bye.